Hey Bookworms, we are going to do one of our more detailed weekly whimsies tonight. I wanted to show you just some little tips I did with my inking pen that I did for the final spooky sort of place he went at the end of the world type of thing. So with the red sun, red dying sun and everything and the large crabs. So I'm using my really fine pen if you have one. If you don't, just the main thing that I want to show you, even if you don't have this fine of a pen, is that I'm barely, so you can see I'm holding way back on the pen and I'm barely pushing, and it creates like a very light very almost like, I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for, just faint line. And I did that with most of that. The only part that I sort of pressed harder with was the crabs themselves, but I held my pen, so typically we hold down here to have more control and grip, but you'll get like a much more sketchy, which is what I was going for. And because this is so detailed, I feel like it'll look really neat once we get some of the paint on. And I'm gonna again use my watercolor because like I'm hooked on that right now. So you guys let me know what I think a lot of you have been using the watercolor too, which has been really beautiful. But yeah, I've been mainly doing watercolor and then throwing some acrylic pen in there here and there. So I'm gonna go back to my little travel kit because this is my favorite one to use. I've got my water pen. I just love the convenience of it, and this whole weekly whimsy thing is all about just sort of getting outside yourself and creating. So whatever you can do to make it easy and not complicate it, that's sort of what we're trying to do, is just be creative each week, right? Okay, so it talks about the dead red sun. So my idea is I'm going to use like an orangey red. I'm going to do like a wash over pretty much all of it because I want it to all look sort of eerie. So I'm going to squeeze some water out and really get this ink going everywhere. You know what I forgot again? I always forget this, to erase my pencil marks. I don't know why I do this every time. Let's see if I can get some of this up so I don't. What that'll do. I've never like tried to erase it with a pen. I made it sort of dirty. All right, it's all right though. Okay, let me clean my brush off. Maybe. I'm such a mess. Okay. I'm going to squeeze this water on here. I want to get this. I'm okay with it being, I'm going to darken up this up in here like it is on the tracer. The paper is going to start bowing on me. But I want everything with this eerie, like red cast. I really liked this book. This was probably one of my favorites that we've done recently. The last, I liked Robin Hood. That was fun. And there were, I would say, my least favorite still, and I think most of you would agree, would be the Last of the Mohicans, which I was really bummed about because I really love historic stuff, and I don't know, it was just the writing for me. It was almost so poetic, which it was beautifully written. It was just hard to keep my interest and follow because it was just always so poetic. All right, there we go. Now you can see it buckling up on me. I'm going to use my paper towel and just pick some of it up so that we can get this to, hopefully I'm going to lay this on there. That'll help it a little bit. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to squeeze some of this color out on my paper towel here. Okay. Now I want to go in and I'm going to brighten up my sun. And yes, that looks cool. So this one I feel like is definitely a little bit more of a challenge, so don't beat yourself up about it. But I feel like this one could be really fun, so I'm hoping it turns out the way I have in my head, at least close to it. You know how that goes. But I have just such like this eerie idea of the colors and the way it looks in my head that... Alright, and I'm going to grab a dark red, and I'm going to go to the bottom of the sun because it's setting. Grab another darker, almost some with some violet in it. Really get that deep down there. Okay, I like that. All right, so now I'm gonna take some of this red and I'm going to make it come across the water here. Okay. Oh, and this is the sand. Sorry. I don't want to. Okay. Now let's see. I'm trying to think what else I want to do. I'm going to use some, like, I don't know what this would be called, like a purpley color, but I'm going to use this as some of my shadow around the rocks that are in the ocean. To darken up the water. I'm going to blend that into the red there. Okay, looking cool. Sort of what I was had in mind so far. All right, and then I'm going to do like a brighter violet for the water closer to the sand here. So I need to go under my crabbies. There we go. I'm going to do a little more red right down in here. Okay. All right, now let's see. I want to darken up the sky in this area up in here. So let's see, what do I want to use? I'm going to do this really dark purpley color, like plum. I'm going to start up in the corners, up in here, and up in here. And then I'm going to use some water to pull that color down. Like that. I want to round it out a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks cool. All right, I really like that. Okay, and then I am going to do, this really dark purple again, and I'm gonna do just a more pigmented version of these little spiky rock mountain type things coming up out of the water. Now, this is still wet, so I didn't consider that. It's the only thing about working with watercolor. All right. So you can see I'm sort of going monochromatic with this, where it's reds and purples. I'm liking it though. So far it's turning out like I was hoping, so that's good. All right. Cool. I really like that. All right, I'm gonna grab some black and deepen up the bottoms and make some texture to these rocks. Okay. And then the clouds, I want to do like a bluish purple, I think is what I want to do. So let's see what this does. It's a little more blue than what I was hoping. That's okay, we will work with it. I'm going to just go right along the bottom of these clouds, and then I am going to clean my brush off and then go in with this purpley color. Hopefully while it's still sort of wet, maybe. There we go, that looks cool. Very creepy. Okay. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Pick this lighter purple up and blend. Cool, I like that a lot. All right, and I want to deepen up some of this right in here so it doesn't get lost in the cloud, hopefully. And that worked. Actually, let me try that. Let's see if we can get, I'm gonna lift some of this color. So I'm just using just water. I don't have any pigment on my, oh yeah, that looks cool. On my brush, I'm just trying to pull up some of this color. I like that. All right, that worked really well. I feel like I need to put a little more detail back in though, right in here. Cool. I like that better. All right. Well, that is looking pretty spooky. I'm going to brighten this sun again. I want it pretty vibrant. Okay. And then, so I've got some, like, I don't know, vegetation here. I am gonna grab whatever this purpley bluish color is. Hopefully. I feel like it's not giving me enough pigment. There we go. Alright, I'm going to put something else like this down in here, this corner. Alright, and then we need to get our crabbies done. So my brush has a ton of paint on it, so let me get some of this off. And then I'm gonna do, let's see, just like brick red here. Okay, I like that. Oh, I think I might be out of water. Oh, hold on, I have to get some water. We're gonna add some shadows to our crabbies. Okay, so I want to add, I'm gonna do this dark purple. I definitely want some of this down here for this guy. And then some dark purple over here. And then it's sort of getting lighter because I want it a little more washed out on the sand area. So you can see on the original there's like shadows under each of these guys. I feel like that adds a lot to it. Okay, let me get some of this. I need to sort of blend it out a little more, I think, especially around this guy. Okay, I really like that. All right, so I need to put some rocks in here. And then almost forgot there's a little weird thing off in the distance there. Okay, pretty happy with that. The only other thing I think that I want to do, I'm gonna add a little bit more shadow to our crabs right in here. so they're not so flat. And just a little bit of black and dark purple. Okay. And then I am going to grab my paint markers. I'm going to grab out my black and my white. Maybe. Now, I'm not sure. I'm going to blend this out a little bit. It's a little bit too much. I think I'm going to use my ink, my pen for this. I feel like it's too much going on. I was able to blend it out nice, like with that, but okay. I'm going to use my white one. I'm going to switch to this and use the brush side. Maybe if I can get it open. What the heck? There we go. Gosh, and then I got it all over me. All right. So I want to put some waves into the ocean here. And I'm just barely tapping it to make it look like it's sort of crashing along the bottoms. There we go. And then I want to put a wave in here like that's on the original. The back there, and then I need some sea foam right here along the front. That looks cool. Okay, and then I'm going to add some highlight up here along my clouds, or at the top of the clouds. You can see my paint marker is not super dark. It's pretty, this one, which I like for this kind of thing. So if you have a brighter one, and make it pop more if you have a more vibrant paint marker. This says they're acrylic. I don't know that they are, because I've noticed if I wet them, even after they dry, they still bleed. So I'm not sure what kind of markers these are. That's Amazon for you. All right, but I do like them. I do use them a lot. Okay. Oops. Okay, and then I want to do the creepy beady eyes of these creatures. There we go. Ooh, that makes them look spooky. And then I'm going to grab my micron again, my thin number 1, and I'm going to give these crabby guys a little more detail. You can see I'm not real careful. I like how it looks sort of all like distorted and sort of weird. You can see I'm not picking up my pen. This actually is hard to do sometimes, to just like let go and move your pen like this. It was very hard for me to do it for a very long time. But I feel like I've gotten better at it, and it's so fun to do if you can just let go. Okay. That looks cool. Look how much they stand out then after you do that. Look at that. Isn't that fun? So cool. Okay. Let me get these other two done, and then I think I'll be happy. Like I said, I'm trying not to pick my pen up. I want it sort of messy. I think it goes well with the atmosphere of it. Alright, and then one more guy out in the distance. I'm using less pressure, so it's not quite as thick of a line. Alright. And give some of these rocks a little more shape. And then I think it might be done. I'm going to put a little more shadow underneath our crabby guys here. Put a little shadow down here. All right, let me pull this up. I really like this one, and it turned out pretty close to what I was hoping. So look how creepy. Not fun. Look at our little crabby guys. They're all spooky and weird in the crazy looking sun. Let me flatten this out a little bit. Look at that. Isn't that weird and cool? I really like the colors too. The purples and the oranges and the reds. All right. I'm excited to see your guys's. Don't be intimidated by this one. This is a little bit more elaborate and a little tinier detail, but you guys have done nothing but amazing work this whole quarter. So I have faith in you, and I've seen a huge difference, like and not difference, I guess, but a huge, well, maybe difference, yeah, in like your willingness to try something, and you guys have all improved in your style, and it's just like super fun to see everyone's. I love that you all are sharing, so continue to do so. I have this ink here, and I've got my clear. I want to just play with this really quick while you guys are all watching and see how it works. Okay, so let's see. We've got our dip pen. It's blue. Is it coming out? That's the question. Maybe. All right, we're gonna give up on this for now. Doesn't seem like the right amount of liquid for this one. Okay, All right, I'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys.